Hey everyone, welcome to this special masterclass on rebuilding confidence after divorce. I am so excited to be here tonight, especially because tomorrow is Valentine's Day. I'm Sharon, I'm your divorce breakthrough coach, and I specialize in neurotransformational coaching, and I help divorced women release guilt and shame, rebuild their confidence, and create a life filled with peace and purpose. So after going through my own journey of self-forgiveness and healing after my divorce, I know firsthand how hard it can be to rebuild your self-worth. But I also know that it's absolutely possible. And that's exactly why I am here today. Because we're going to be diving into self-confidence, what it really means, why it feels so hard after divorce, and most importantly, how you can start rebuilding it today. So whether you're struggling with self-doubt, second-guessing yourself, or feeling like you've lost who you are, this is for you. We are going to talk about 3 powerful shifts that you can make to make you feel like you again. For a lot of people, Valentine's Day is a celebration of love, connection, and partnership. But if you're navigating life after divorce, this day can feel like a painful reminder of what's missing, of what was lost, or even of what you feel you don't deserve. It's easy to look around and think, everyone else has someone, why don't I? I don't know if I'll ever have that again. Maybe love just isn't meant for me anymore. And you know, while those feelings are valid, they don't have to define you. Valentine's Day isn't just about romantic love. It's about love, period. And that includes the love you show yourself. So let me ask you a question. How many of you have ever looked in the mirror and felt like you don't even recognize yourself anymore? Like you're just going through the motions, but you've lost that spark of confidence. If that resonates with you, you are not alone. Divorce doesn't just end a marriage. It can make you question everything about yourself. You know, was I not enough? Did I make the right decision? Can I even trust myself anymore? And here we are, just days away from Valentine's Day, and a day that, if you're in a happy relationship, feels beautiful. But when you're divorced, it can bring up pain and loneliness, regret, and self-doubt. But let me tell you something. You are not broken. This is just a season. And tonight, I'm going to help you shift from doubting yourself to actually trusting yourself again, from feeling unworthy to knowing your worth without validation, and fearing the future to actually stepping into new possibilities with confidence. So by the time we finish, you're going to walk away with real actionable strategies that you can start using immediately. And we're going to do this in 3 powerful shifts. So I want you to grab a pen and piece of paper, because we're not just listening tonight, we are actually working through this together. So who is ready to start feeling like themselves again? Drop me in the comments. Yeah. So let's talk about the first shift to make, and that is going from self-judgment to self-compassion. So let's be real for a moment. No one is harder on you than you. Am I right? Put a yes in the chat if you agree with that. So after divorce, it is so easy to beat yourself up with thoughts like, I should have done things differently. I ruined everything. I don't deserve happiness after what happened. This cycle of self-judgment doesn't just make you feel bad. It actually keeps you stuck in shame. And shame is the #1 confidence killer, lady. Because when you believe you're not worthy, you actually start acting like you're not worthy. You shrink yourself down. You avoid new experiences. You settle for less. But here's the truth. Your mistakes do not define you. Your divorce doesn't make you unworthy. Holding on to guilt doesn't change the past. It only keeps you from moving forward. So I want you to close your eyes for a second. And I want you to imagine that you're looking at your younger self. Maybe she's 5 years old. This little girl, she has wide eyes. She's so full of hope and possibility. And now I want you to imagine yourself sitting across from her. Would you ever look at her and say, you're not good enough? You're a failure. You're not worthy of love? Of course you wouldn't. So why do you say these things to yourself now? After divorce, so many women fall into a trap of self-blame. They replay the past, analyze every mistake, and convince themselves that they aren't deserving of happiness. But let me ask you something. Has judging yourself ever made you feel better? Has it ever helped you grow? No. Judgment keeps you stuck. Self-compassion moves you forward. So take a moment and write down one thing that you constantly criticize yourself for when it comes to your divorce. Now I want you to rewrite it in a way that shows compassion. So for example, instead of I failed my marriage, right, I did the best I could with the knowledge I had at the time. Instead of I should have tried harder, right, I am learning and growing from this experience. So drop a yes in the chat if you're willing to start shifting your self-talk tonight. Because confidence doesn't come from perfection. It comes from self-acceptance. So let's go even further into this. How do you shift from self-judgment to self-compassion? First, you have to recognize negative self-talk. Pay attention to the way you talk to yourself. If you wouldn't say it to your best friend or that little girl, then why are you saying it to yourself now? The next thing I want you to do is practice self-forgiveness. I want you to write a letter to yourself. Acknowledge your pain, your regrets, and your struggles. But also remind yourself of everything that you've survived. Because confidence doesn't come from perfection. It comes from self-acceptance. And that brings me to a story. So I was talking to a client today about this exact same thing. And for the last 2 weeks, she's been sending me 3 things she did well every single day. So when I asked her today what she gained from it, she said, you know, it actually made me stop thinking about all the negative and actually focus on what's good in my life. And that's the shift. Confidence comes from self-approval, not all this external approval. Now, the second shift we're going to talk about is going from seeking validation to owning your worth. So for a long time after I left my ex, I was out there seeking validation from everybody. I was disrespectful to myself, and in return, it just made me feel bad about myself. So let's talk about the trap of external validation. After divorce, it's so tempting to look for reassurance from things like social media. Like if I get likes and comments, maybe I'll still be desirable. Or if you're out there dating, if someone wants me, maybe I'm still lovable. Or even from your ex, if they still think I'm a good person, then maybe I am. You know, but here's the problem. When you tie your worth to other people's opinions, you give away your power. If they don't validate you, your confidence crumbles. And that's not real confidence. That's actually conditional confidence. The truth is you don't need anyone's permission to feel worthy. You are valued, and your value is not based on your relationship status, your past, or what other people think of you. So how do you shift from seeking validation to owning yourself? I want you to write down 5 things that make you valuable that have nothing to do with being in a relationship. Think about your strengths, your kindness, your resilience, the way you show up for people. Because your worth has never depended on a man's opinion, right? So drop a me in the chat if you're committed to owning your worth instead of seeking it from others. Awesome. So every night, I want you to write down 3 things you did well that day. This actually rewires your brain to recognize your strengths instead of looking for outside approval. The next thing I want you to do is set boundaries. Stop engaging people who make you question your worth. Your peace is more important than their opinion. Next, I want you to start speaking affirmations to yourself and actually mean it. Find evidence in your life to support the affirmations. Say them out loud. I am worthy just as I am. My past does not define who I am. I do not need someone else's approval to be enough. So instead of texting your ex to see if they still care, remind yourself, my worth is not tied to their opinion of me. I am enough as I am. Because confidence grows when you decide that you are enough, no matter what anyone else thinks. And the last shift that we're going to talk about is shifting from fear of the future to embracing possibilities. So let's talk about fear for a minute. When a marriage ends, so does a future you once pictured. It can feel terrifying not knowing what's next. But let's flip that script for a second. What if instead of saying, I don't know what's ahead and that's scary, that you say, I don't know what's ahead and that means anything is possible for me. After divorce, the future can feel terrifying. You might be thinking things like, I don't know who I am without this marriage. I don't know if I'll ever find love again. What if I fail at building a new life for myself? And so when fear takes over, it keeps you stuck, too afraid to move forward, too afraid to take chances, too afraid to dream again. But here's the truth. Just because you don't have all the answers doesn't mean that you're lost. It just means that you're in a season of rediscovery. So I want you to think about a time in your life when something didn't go as planned, but later turned out to be a blessing. Maybe a job you didn't get led to something better. Maybe a breakup in the past made space for real love later. Divorce is not the end. It's actually an invitation to rediscover yourself. So close your eyes for a moment. Imagine yourself 1 year from now. You've done the work. You've rebuilt your confidence. You've let go of the guilt and shame. Where are you? What does your life look like? How do you feel? So now open your eyes and write down one thing that you can start doing today to step into that vision. Because the only way to build confidence is to take action, even when you don't feel ready. Next, I want you to explore new experiences. Try a new hobby. Travel somewhere. Join a group that excites you. Remember, new experiences equals new confidence. And then I want you to set some bold goals. Write down what you want for your future, not just what you fear. Because confidence doesn't come from knowing exactly how your life will unfold. It comes from believing that your best days are still ahead of you. So remember, confidence starts with you. Rebuilding confidence takes time, but it starts with these 3 key shifts that we've talked about. Going from self-judgment to self-compassion. Make sure you give yourself grace. From seeking validation to owning your worth. Remember, you don't need anyone's approval to be enough. And then the third one, from fear of the future to embracing possibilities. Your story's still being written. So I want to know, Which one of these shifts spoke to you tonight? Drop a 1, 2, or 3 in the comments. I would love to know. And if you're ready to take this deeper, then drop action in the comments to get my 30-day action plan to mastery or my emotional empowerment guide. You let me know which one you want. But if you're looking for real transformation, the kind that helps you break free from this guilt, fully love yourself, overcome fear, own your journey, and create lasting inner peace, then I want to invite you to my Bloom with Balance coaching program. This is my signature 5-month program designed specifically for women like you who are ready to release the past, rebuild their confidence, and create a future they love. So if that sounds like something that you need, then comment Bloom below and I will send you the details. And most importantly, this Valentine's Day, choose to love yourself first, because the relationship that you have with yourself sets the tone for everything else in your life. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I really appreciate it, and I cannot wait to see which shift resonated with you most. Keep showing up for yourself. You are so worth it. Thank you again for being here tonight.